some tea. Karl's sick. So he doesn't get to try any beer today. He only gets to try tea. And we're like on a wide range of berries for you today.
Yes.
Too bad. No, I mean, do we have any berry honey flavored beer? Jay can maybe make you
We
some.
do not want any berry flavored beer.
You're so boring. I'll move this closer so they can see you while I get up and. Oh, we got lots of people on. I have to thumbs up. I have to like myself. I liked my video. Okay, talk to Karl. I gotta make him some tea. Karl, would you like to introduce what you're wearing?
What I'm wearing?
You're wearing a cat.
Well, as you already know, the guy who just got very curious because she went into the kitchen, and in the kitchen there is cat food. That's Fuzzy. Silly is around here somewhere. He likes to take the high ground, but I don't know exactly where he is right now.
He's over here.
Ah, yeah. Both of them are heading for the kitchen.
There's a pink hat in that pile if you want to talk about that too.
Why, woman? Why?
Because it's, we have to get rid of it.
Yeah, that's presumably the hat that was too political. This thing. As she said, we have to get rid of it. We can't sell it in the shop because it's political and possibly knitted.
Not Viking.
The cats are fighting. She kind of just dodged out and left me holding the bag here.
Yep.
So let me see if the chat is saying something I can react to. Something Nalbinding related. Somebody is, let's see.
You have to say names.
Actually read the thing. No, I don't. Oh, I have it on the computer.
It's on the computer, you can read it, yeah.
There are 2 degrees in Glasgow.
Where Robert is.
Somebody says hi from Indiana.
You're horrible at saying names.
Yes, because I can't read it at this distance,
Oh my
woman.
God, go to an eye doctor.
The eye doctor has already classified me as legally blind, so there isn't
Things
legal.
have changed in the last 20 years.
Yes, my eyesight has gotten worse in the last 20 years.
And science has gotten better.
Yeah, let's see. Peruda says hello.
Is Ruda watching?
Peruda.
Oh, Peruda.
And well, she is in the kitchen talking, but I see her microphone is still on the table, so I presume you cannot hear her.
Nope. That's intentional. I didn't want to hear the glass and stuff, the background noise from making tea. You can't drink that yet. Okay. Now I'm ready. All right. Okay. Karl has to have tea. He can't have beer today. He's sick. Whichever one of you guys had a New Year's Eve virus, Karl thanks you. I think 2 of you spread it through YouTube.
The last question there might be interesting. I just got barely time to start reading it.
Yeah. Did you say that you... Oops, sorry. I have to grab my microphone. Did you state that you were thinking about that we'll have to raffle it off, so to speak, but contestants have to, or is it the best Viking related question? Because poor Karl, it's been so needle biting having in the winter that he hasn't had any decent. Well, he hasn't had any decent. He hasn't very many decent Viking questions, and he's going through withdrawal. So you decided last week, and I think we're sticking with it, that we can give this hat to the one with the best question, and then what do they have, like by the end of the month, or
Yeah,
That's like 2 more
up to
episodes.
you. How much longer can you look at that thing?
I'm afraid my cats are going to ruin it. Okay, let's just say by the end of the month. Because by the end of the month, February, I was cleaning. Because I only clean for YouTube. So we should probably keep doing YouTube at our home next. I realized that I made a demo one for my kids. The knit version, so I have another one. Yeah, but this is the knit one. So I was going to show my kid how to make it, but they didn't like that one either, so we could do this one in February. The forbidden knitted craft. But I'm going to put that away and pretend it doesn't exist until February. But I realized anyway, we got 2. So we can do this one in January. So we have about 2 weeks left at least. And then we'll have to figure out a new way to get rid of this one. This one's much, much looser, by the way. Okay, so anyway, that's what you're going to do. You decided now you have to have the best question, and you, of course, have to decide which one challenges you the most, Viking related. Yeah, you can put them in comments too. Jay helped me out. He was trying to, I think it was one where PJ was trying to link the new book, but it couldn't take any links for some reason in the live chat. Turns out you can do it in comments, but anyway, Jay sent me a link so I can see all these comments that I've missed when we were busier, so I can go through and find those, and even any that had gotten hidden, because maybe it had a link in it, but that doesn't show chat. I haven't figured that one out yet, so I can't see why the links won't post in chat, but I guess it's so people don't post links of the flesh. Anyway, an accident. So YouTube stops that. So anyway, that's what, should we say January, what is it? How many days are in January? 30, 31? January 31. Yeah?
You shouldn't have more than, I don't know.
To consult the Great Book of Google. And then Karl, of course, will share his DNA with you. So while you're looking that one up, we're going to have to take, Karl can't have beer today. So we are taste testing teas. And I put down 2 tea bags to show you what it looked like. And now I forgot where I put them. I'm probably sitting on them. But you, Karl, have a blueberry tea. Because unlike your beers, you actually prefer, I don't know what the hell I did with the tea bags. They're gone.
Yeah, you have 2 more Saturdays in January after this one.
Yeah, that's what I thought. There should be at least 2 more. So when we kind of sort of did one last week. So Karl's sharing DNA with us. That's right. Genuine Karl DNA. Not for kids, writes Raymond. Not.
You might want to take this thing off me now.
Okay, we'll make him back to Nalbinding. I have another one you can try on. There, that one he can try on. That one looks a little bit better for you. That's the one that we were making last week.
Not my colors.
There's always another hat in this house. Do you want me to go get your regular? I'll get your regular hat. Because I can't. Oh, there they are. The tea bags fell on the floor. Okay, you can't have that one either. That one goes in the shop. There we are.
You have to give a hat to the wood guy. You wouldn't use that as an excuse.
Nope, I have a hat for the wood guy. We'll explain that one a bit later. That one's this one in the recycled wool. I have lots of this one. Because there was apparently 2 sweaters that were made out of it that I ripped to shreds. Okay, anyway, so first Karl gets to drink his tea. So we're having London Fruit and Herb Company. So Karl, who can't have fruit in his beer, can actually handle and prefers fruit in his tea, the red kind, the red teas. This is blueberry though, but it looks very red. Oh, but you can't have it quite yet. We have to have some of Torben's honey on here because it's not sweet enough for you. Last week I did Audra's honey, and this week we're going to do Torben's honey. There's a little bit difference because Torben's honey is a little bit more liquidy. See? There you go. Now you can have it. And I'm having apple and cinnamon. So we'll see. You've had this one before, but I don't know if you've noticed what I've been feeding you. I've been feeding you blackcurrant, blueberry, raspberry, and 4 red fruits. That was the other one, but that was Twinnings.
Yeah, no, but I basically have to be sick to drink tea. So my taste buds are not really there.
No.
So I don't think anybody should make any big value judgment based on my opinions about tea.
Rosehip tea, right, Suze, is really good. Is really really good for illness and tastes good. I absolutely hate that stuff, but we have it here. It's called Nype, Nype. Tea is rosehip tea, and Karl just finished the last one 2 days ago. I bought a box of it, thought I'd try it. Absolutely hated it, but I don't do berries. I just anything red is not very good for me. But Karl liked it, so I was really excited when he finally drank the last one a couple days ago, and now we're working on the other tin of red shit I won't touch. so, so do you like your blueberry tea?
Who knows what it tastes like, but
That's right, because you're sick. But did you notice any difference in any of the red teas I've been giving you this last
yeah,
2
that
days?
tastes different. But it's not like I'm trying to be a tea connoisseur. I'm not British.
Yep, but you can't have beer today. Too bad. Sucks to be sick. So anyway, so he's drinking that. So last week we had Audra's tea in there. This time we're having Torben's
Honey,
tea.
not tea.
Honey, sorry. And this one is sommerhonning fra Hardanger. Can you say that in that dialect?
Sommerhonning fra Hardanger.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So this is the one Torben made 2 years ago. I think we had this one, but it looks like we're gonna need another one soon, because when Karl's sick, we fly through this. And then we still have a little bit of Audra's honey left. It's a little bit different. I had that one last week. So yeah, but this one is, I didn't realize how much softer this one is compared to Audra's. Audra's is, then they also have a slightly different taste. They're both really good though. But this one is almost like the kind you get in the bear in the United States, if you know the one. Sorry, it's sticky. You kind of like, you squeeze the bear and he goes hee hee, and he squeezes honey all over the place. Yeah. American commercials from when I was a kid. Anyway, it was almost like a liquidy honey, but not quite. Okay, I gotta catch up on chat. Sue says, by the way, when we get sick, we drink fire water. It's a mixture of apple cider vinegar, vodka, onion, ginger, horseradish, a bunch of dill herbs, and garlic, and tastes horrible. It fixes you right up. I think we have most of those ingredients, except for the horseradish. He doesn't look too optimistic. I'll move this a little closer so I can read the chat. Definitely not for kids, says Raymond.
And that's like giving a bare bottom spanking as a cure for headaches.
Might work.
If that's the cure, nobody's ever going to the doctor to complain about headaches. So, problem solved, I guess.
Is that when they were solving problems with laudanum? No, maybe. Okay. Anyway, Audra says, not for kids. Definitely not for kids. Michelle Lynn says, I second the fire water, though. How many of these ingredients do we have? Let's see. We have apple cider vinegar. We have vodka. We have onion. We have, well, we might not have ginger. We have ginger tea, though. Great substitute. It'll be fine. Horseradish, no. A bunch of different herbs. Well, we have a bunch of those things on the counter. And garlic. More garlic, the better. Yeah. No, we could almost.
The only ingredients I think does anything in that is the vodka. And you destroy the vodka by putting all the other things in it. So I think straight vodka is probably a better
I think
solution.
he's starting to feel better already just thinking about not having to drink that. Okay, we're going to say hi. Nella's here from Finland, and Audra's here she's back in Lithuania. And she's got pneumonia, so you got company. More people getting sick this time of year. Let's see. Nell says, sorry to hear that you're sick. Hopefully the antibiotics kick in soon. Max is here. He is in the Buckeye state of Ohio. How is everyone doing? Charlotte is here with dancing girls, crossed fingers, hearts, fireworks, and 2 eggplants with a laughing emoji. What do you think she's trying to say?
Go through the hieroglyphs one more time.
Okay, she says, hello, firework, dancing emoji, crossed fingers and a heart, snowy Bergen, it's gonna rain like a MF tomorrow, and of course 2 eggplants and a laughing emoji. What's she trying to say?
She was really excited about New Year's Eve, so she went dancing. She is crossing her fingers to meet love, but all she got was 2 eggplants and whatever the hell the last thing was.
And she's laughing about it. Yeah.
2 comical eggplants.
Was he close? Let's see. Yeah, or everybody's still putting yep. No, I think Aldrich definitely one-upped you with pneumonia, though. Crap, that is not a fun thing to have. But maybe, is it because you've been traveling a lot lately? I know that, well, because it's cold and flu season anyway, but pneumonia is a nasty one to get, though. And yeah, no, you need the antibiotics, and hope to God that one works out soon. I've had it, I think, once, and it's not pretty. That was a long time ago, back when I worked at School of Fritidsordning. The SFO was like an after-school school with the kids, and the first year I was sick all the time, and then the next 8 years I was fine. Nothing could kill me.
I had it the
kids.
summer 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, you
As you
did. Yeah,
might remember.
you did. I remember that. We were trying to do Hago too. It was nasty. Let's see. Raymond is sending healing thoughts. James Steele. Hi, Karin and Karl. On Thursday, I finished a Billum hat, and then I started a pair of mittens in Billum, and in the meantime, I'm testing Noken Papua, like Papua New Guinea. But I'm still doing the Billum all the time. I gotta say, I haven't caught the Billum bug yet, but I might, because they're a little bit different than the Finnish and the Russian stitches. They're more like in the Danish family kind of thing. But I did the hourglass one though. That was pretty fun to try. But I don't know. I seem to like the extra turn, I think, or something that it's done with it. I don't know. So I should try Billum one day. But Nella says Billum means womb. It's a word that should only be used when talking Nalbinding made in PNG, Papua New Guinea, by a local artist. Yeah, Nella's got the facts though. By the way, this is why we need Nella and Andecker and whoever here, because I can yarn bomb a light pole and whatever in my Viking boyfriend, but the history of Nalbinding, I definitely need them to back me up on, because I don't know that as much as they do. Oh, actually, I did. There was Discord. We somebody had posted on one of the Nalbinding groups that there is a Discord channel for crafters, and we need to get that posted into the international as well. I now noticed I just accidentally closed the window. But I was introducing myself as my name is Karin. I'm a jack of all trades when it comes to crafts, but my basic, mostly I've either been painting or working with pretty much anything with textile crafts. So I could, fiber crafts, that was it. So I could basically spin around in a bowl of fiber and come out fully clothed. That was what you don't like that? It could be true. We're basically spinning it around in a bowl of fiber. Okay.
Anywhere you live, you turn into a bowl of fiber just by your mere existence.
Yeah, but we do have a bowl of orcs going on upstairs, so you're in some serious compete. Look how proud he is.
It's not even close, woman. Neither in area or money. I'm so far behind you, it's not even funny.
Most of mine's donated, though. I got a mom that likes to get rid of stuff and gives it to me.
Yeah, but somebody paid for it at some point.
Yeah, and then I've been finding, this one up here, all those white and gray yarns. Those are Sulka over there. That one I found. Well, I did pay for it, but I didn't pay full price for it. That's for sure. It was super expensive if you bought it when it was available. I think it was 86 kroner a skein then, and they're like 25 gram. No, they're 50 gram skeins. Sorry, but it was, I think, 86 kroner a skein then, and that was probably 10 years ago. So now it would be, Jesus, it'd be a lot. Anyway, probably 120 or so, maybe more, for a skein of yarn, maybe 180. But to find it for 25 kroner a skein on Finn, I was just like, shut up, take my money, I want it all, and can it be there when I get back from United States? And so yeah, no, but I'm working well through it. It was 47 plus the original ones that I bought from them. They suddenly found 47 more, and like, you wouldn't want more, would you? Here you go. So anyway, but I did make a pretty good work through it. Karsten and Dodo is here from Flensburg, and Charlotte is going to make a pizza, maybe later a movie. Maybe Maggie Griggs is here from Colorado. Beautiful cat. Everybody likes that cat. He's a bastard. You don't like him. He's evil.
No, he's a good guy.
He scratches everything. He's the reason we have to have 10,000 blankets on the couch when we're not doing YouTube.
You would have 10,000 blankets just lying around if they were not on the couch.
This is true. Just have to pet the yarn. Michelle's here from Indiana. Max says, anyway, I'm making a pair of Nalbinding mittens in Russian 2+2+2, but at the same time, I might consider using the Pulvijärvi stitch or something else. I have to check exactly which that one is, but Russian 2+2+2, I know what that is. It's in the same, it's a bit like the Telemark and Dalby that we're doing, but the amount of loops, they're related. Not the same, but related. Raymond says, turn that hat into a bag. Oh, yeah, that we could do. It could be a nice little bag. Well, the person who wins it can do that. Okay. Amy Hertford is here from St. Louis. Snowy St. Louis. Everybody got snow in the United States. I'm seeing snow pictures everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, it's just another day in Norway. But it's cool to see. I mean, they're getting it farther south. There's sledding. Some of them are sliding without wanting to in their cars. But and then there's fires in Los Angeles. They wish we had this. They had the snow over there. That's actually quite devastating to see. Have you seen the pictures on that?
Yeah.
It's insane. So we hope they are going to. Hopefully that gets under control soon. A lot of people had to evacuate. I saw Mark Hamill has been following up too about how he's had to be evacuated and everything like that. It's the guy who played Luke Skywalker. He's on the Democratic Twitter of it seems to be Democrat Twitter, the Blue Sky thing, and it keeps popping up on my feed for some reason. Blue Sky thinks I'm very interested in what Mark Hamill's doing, but he had this huge. Actually, I did get quite interested in reading about the evacuation and things. And Samantha's here as well. They're both from Missouri, by the way, so there's two of you. She's got snow as well. The more about Karl not sharing his DNA for kids. Let's see. Oh, there's lots. Lots. I have to read faster. Nikki's here. Straight vodka is better. Yep. Susan Youngman's here from France. 0 degrees there as well as where it was with Audra. Nikki says, also in New Zealand, there is some problem with the summer. It's horrible here, wet, rainy, and I haven't seen much sun. But we have had quite a few Australians, etc., in the village, I believe.
Yeah, quite a lot.
Yeah, so they left the cold, wet, summery New Zealand and came here, where it's cold and...
The Australians left the cold, wet New Zealand to come here.
No, the New Zealanders came too. We've had a few from New Zealand. It's just...
rare birds, mostly Australians.
If you can pick on country, so can I. No, that's not what I meant. Helga von Leipzig is here. I haven't seen that name in a while. Greetings from the Netherlands. Welcome back. Robert says, another question for Karl. I think it was 2 weeks ago you mentioned the inscription on a bear ball. It sounded as if you used the word drukit that you seem to translate to drunk. Oh, like drukit, yeah. Drukkit is drukit, yeah, is the past tense of drunk.
Yep.
Yeah, drakk. Yeah,
it's the present tense.
Drukket? Nej, han hade druckit en öl.
Yeah, it's past tense.
Yeah. It's like drink.
In the particular context, it was, if it hadn't been for that, we wouldn't have been sitting here drinking. So in the English translation, it's present, but the actual Norwegian is, hadde vi ikke sittet her og drukket. So you use the past tense, but you are talking about
drinking. Yeah.
But we are talking about the present.
Oh, okay. So you know that one anyway. So yeah, no, I guess that was okay. In Old Scots, they use the word drukket to mean soaked, but he's spelling it D-R-O-O-K-I-T, but that's basically how it sounds. To mean soaked, like soaked through from being caught in the rain. And it made him wonder if you've ever tried reading Robert Burns' poetry.
No, I haven't.
Time to Google. That would be kind of interesting to see. I'm wondering about the connection there, but that'll be that would be something for you there. You'd probably find that one interesting, I think. So Robert Burns' poetry would sound a bit like that, I think. Let's see. Oops, I somehow couldn't scroll up, but now I can. True that, Karl. I keep you all alive with my wonderful not-for-kids humor, says Charlotta. So apparently you translated the fireworks and the dancing and the eggplants all perfectly. Yeah. Good job. James Steele, Noken Papa is from Indonesia. That one, there's going to be a good debate about that one. So I'm looking forward to see how that one goes because it's all out of my wheelhouse there. Anne Moreau says, better late than never. She's coming in from Belgium. Karsten says, I have a technical question. What kind of external mics are you using? I can probably clip this one up here. These are really good. It just didn't work when, I think the Apple, was it Apple 12 or Apple 11? I think I had Apple 12 phone, went through an update and then they just stopped working all of a sudden. But it's these ones, Rhoda 2. It looks like Rhoda, but it's the O has a line through it, so Röda.
I think it is pronounced Rode.
I think
I
they say
think the people who made them are not familiar with our letters.
no, so they just
they're
thought
not
it looked
trying to make
really
an
cool if they put a
they're
line
trying
through
to
it.
make an O.
Yeah, so it might be Rhoda, but I know that all the YouTube videos and such, because we were going through all of them to try to figure out what was technically going wrong, and they all call it Rhoda as well. But this is the Wireless Go 2, as in Roman numeral 2s. And it's kind of nice because with this piece here, it has to be connected to the phone though. I can switch, I can turn his microphone off, I can turn mine off, we can turn it individually on here as well. It has, this is kind of cool. This, I don't want to touch it too much because it might make noise. This furry thing here, which will actually help a lot with the wind when we're outside, is magnetic. You can just take it right off if you want to have better sound. And then you can control more than that. I can't remember if you can control the amount of volume, etc. But you can see everything that's going on there. I'm microphone 1, he's microphone 2. But because I didn't want you to hear the clinking of the glasses and the tea stirring and all that stuff over there, I took off the microphone earlier. But last week I went to go and get something from the kitchen and left the microphone on, and I played it back. You could hear it just fine. So anyway, that one's pretty good. Samantha says we used a brand of mics when I worked on a video, and we all pronounced it Rode. Haha, silly Americans, I guess. But the thing is, you might not be wrong because they're all of them in the YouTube videos are pronouncing it Rode, like you spelt there ROAD. But here's me going Scandinavian, and that is actually, I mean, it's not a 0, it's an actual letter that.
Yeah.
Oh, and you pronounce I say but I say it wrong.
If it was Scandinavian, it would be a röda, which
Röda,
means red ones, or they are red.
Yeah, because the E also sounds like an A when it's on the end in Norwegian. Yeah, and in Danish, yeah. But Swedish will often have an A instead of an E, so. But anyway, so you might not be, I mean, I might be wrong too. They might have just been like, I mean, we had a guy that we used to work for that used a lot of Z's and X's because they were really cool letters. So this could be the same in the same case. They might have spelt it with a 0 or an
Yeah.
but yeah, it's one of the 3 extra letters in the Norwegian alphabet, A, O, and you need the real guy to pronounce that for you. The only one I'm an expert at pronouncing is O, because I come from Minnesota.
Yeah, no, you hit correctly on all 3 of them.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Do you have a link for this microphone or something? I've been looking for a good one. I can type it in here, and then you can. There's a bunch of them. Röda Wireless Go 2 is the microphones. Anyway, you can. There's a bunch of videos on. You'll find a whole bunch anyway. But this was the only one that we could find that would split the two of us. So he has a microphone and I have a microphone, and we don't have this big long cord going to the phone. This is back in the days when we were trying to find all kinds of different things that we could use when we were doing online guiding. We did Hago and Amazon and some for Discovery as well. And then we did, of course, a bunch over Zoom. But the problem is only one of us, you can only hear one of us at a time if it was externally. We tried, in the end, when the microphone stopped working with the Apple phone after some update or something. Anyway, then we had to use these AirPods. And then I had to put some felt around the end. And Karl would be the only one that could hear them because he needs to hear the questions. I could only read while I'm holding the camera and he's in front talking. So in this case, they can actually hear both of us, which is quite nice. And yeah, the wind block is much, much better than the felted thing I was trying to do. But because the new Apple phones have now gone to C, let's see, like a regular, just like everyone else, not only can Karl and I use the same jack for a change, but these things absolutely had no problem working. They suddenly started working again, which is good because they're not cheap. So I know because I lost a pair and had to buy a new pair to replace it with, and I'm still hoping the first pair will show up. But yeah, you'll like it. And that was Radisby, by the way. Samantha says, we used to have oh yeah, I read that one. Nella says, well, apparently New Zealand is responsible of the international relations with the Cook Islands, and a shipping company from there has done some sabotage on the Baltic Sea. This is more about the Billum thing and the Papua New Guinea thing. That's a conversation I would absolutely encourage you guys to keep having in chat, and I will read that one with on bated breath because I have no idea. I only know what Anne and Nella have been telling me about Billum and whatever I've seen on Facebook, etc. But I haven't actually gone in and researched any of that. But I think it's quite interesting, actually, that Papua New Guinea would be able to use the term Billum because billum overlaps with needle binding. They're quite similar, but when do you call it billum and when do you call it hourglass stitch or something like that? That I thought was kind of interesting. Karsten says, thank you. I'm doing research for buying mics for us, and these you are using are in my focus. These were the best ones. Just don't try to make it work with lightning adapters. Make sure you have a newer phone and keep your phone updated all the time. That we found out that with Samsung, because it worked with the Samsung, but the Samsung's phone at the time, the 20s, if you moved like this too quickly, it would give you like a walleye vision because it had an internally built gimbal. I don't know if anything newer than the S20 would do that though, but the microphones worked just fine. But the Apple had a better video. It just, yeah. What did you think?
What I hear is that Apple is notoriously incompatible with anything that isn't Apple.
Yep.
And since Rode or Rode or whatever the hell they are not Apple, they will probably be more dickish to work with through an Apple product than through anything else.
Yeah. No, it did work for a little while. You'd had to have a special adapter that was that went from Lightning and then to the microphones, which was C. But the adapter, the one that's plugged into the phone that I can't show you, it also goes like this. It's like this shaped. And the reason for that is because if you have the phone on the gimbal like we do now and it's like this, every time the gimbal tries to move, it'll smack the side of the thing and it won't move. But if you have one that's bent or like this shaped anyway, then it'll move much more freely. So that was another thing we found out on the hard part. But let's see. Nikki's working on a pair of leg warmers in Telemark. I have a peace of mind. And my hands I have to pace myself. My hands are so tired. Yeah. Don't do this. You know, you got to do this. And if it's a longer piece of thing, start resting it maybe on the table. Like, you know, if you sat like at a desk, rest the project on the desk so it's not so heavy on you. But if you're doing this, you're going to have wrists like mine, which are really, really bad. So I have to kind of sink the shoulders or sit back and do it. Have really good lighting so you're not doing this either. That'll help a lot. But anytime you're learning a new stitch, you're going to be a bit more tense, and that will hopefully become more comfortable over time. Let's see. There's some more information coming out about the Papua New Guinea and Billum back and forth. I will catch up on that when it gets more out. Let's see. Samantha said we use... Oh, yeah, no, I keep reading the same thing from Samantha. Samantha wants to be read today. It's my mistake. Lucky to even put Tasmania on the map, let alone New Zealand, says Raymond. Oh, Raymond saved my ass today. This was a couple of days ago. Someone wanted to know, she was getting into it, Lemony or something like that, was getting into the Stitch of the Month, and that's really cool to see that that's catching on in the Facebook groups as well. How do you know which Stitch of the Month? And I want to go back and do the old ones. Maybe they don't know that I'm getting it from the Nylock and Tot list. I go and pick some from there because if we go through it too quickly, you can refer to their video and you can see how Sana does it. She does it nice and slow and easily, and the music is so peaceful, and she kind of makes me feel so calm. But anyway, so then I said, you know what? Raymond, on the other hand, he can just like... At the drop of a hat, he can list all the stitches of the month and all the colors of the month that was going on for that time. And sure enough, so I put on there, you know, Raymond's out there doing it. I'm going to have to come up with a new of the month kind of thing just to keep him distracted or busy or entertained. I was saying he was distracted. There you go, 2025 Stitch of the Month Telemark in January. But anyway, yeah, no, he had them all at just on his fingertips, which was really quite cool to see. And the color month is green, yeah. So that was really quite cool to see, because I thought, oh, I never actually did write them down. I have to sit there and go back and look through all the descriptions on the YouTube videos to find out which is which, and it's getting to be quite a lot of months now. So that was really cool to see anyway. So, and then she was very, very happy, so they can go back and try some new ones. But yeah, we reserve the right to have some repeats on a new year, because not everybody got to try Dollar say last year, so maybe they want to try it this year. But I will usually pick my favorites and maybe a couple of new ones. And then of course Max is out there trying to get me to do new stitches too. Try this one. I'm like, okay. And you never know, sometimes you like them. Let's see. Okay, by the way, and then we should probably just get right to it. We haven't done yeah, there's oh no, I gotta scroll on chat here too, but yeah, we'll get right to it. Change of plan, says Max. I decided to make a wrist warmer and finish 2+2 in the Rautijärvi Method, I'm horrible at pronouncing those. Meaning I have one thumb loop and I skip the second thumb loop and pick up the 2 loops behind my thumb. So isn't that like 1 plus 2 plus 1, I think. It might be Russian. It sounds like it anyway. But that will be quite interesting to see. Finish 2 plus 2 is my go-to stitch for thinner yarn. It just makes such a nice fabric. But the Russian stitches are really nice as well if you want. Oh, actually, hand me the sock again. That's finish 2 plus 2.
Which sock?
The one on the edge of the couch. Yeah, this was stash busting a while ago. But this is finished 2 plus 2, but they are slightly worn. You can kind of see a little bit more what it looks like there. Wait. Yeah, no, this is finished 2 plus 2. I thought for a minute there it might be a Russian stitch, but I usually won't make socks in a Russian stitch. Not because I don't think it would be good, but because I'm lazy. And it takes a little bit longer to do that one extra motion. But that one, it makes a really nice solid fabric. And this is pretty thin yarn. I don't know if you can see how thin it is. Okay, so we should play with the Telemark. Let's see, there are some stitches that are more knotting than Nalbinding and some that are still a little known, very little known. Yeah, it's the ones that are more knotting tend to be the ones that I don't want to do. I did do the hourglass stitch. It was kind of fun. Just have to put this up here. But it was kind of fun, but I don't know how much I would do in that stitch purely because of the hourglass, the knotted bit kind of it. It's also that you have to kind of tension very specifically. Okay, so if I had, let me flip that light so it works a little bit better. Like that maybe. And then if I turn them, there we go. Okay, so this is the hat I was working on last week, and I was on a mission from God, and I managed to finish it in the same day. That doesn't usually happen, but every once in a while. So if you have to a trained eye, you will see this is the Telemark stitch. This is the right side as if you were holding it to you. Actually, it's upside down because I worked it from the middle. No, that light isn't helping any much. Try again there. There, you can see it a bit better. It's kind of got a little bit more pronounced ridge. But then, sometime around here, I want to say, actually that's just my join there is a little tighter there. I think it's, let's see if I can see it. I saw it before, but now I have to look for it. So the fact that I have to look for it is why I continued the way I did. Yeah. Anyway, somewhere around here, it might be a little bit into the purple. I had to go to the bathroom. Nature calls. So I went upstairs, did my business, came back down, and then my fingers said, we're doing Dalby. So at some point, this Telemark turns into Dalby, and you can kind of see there's all, so I just, after about this far is when I noticed I was doing Dalby, and I thought there's no way in hell I'm going to rip all that up. The tension is, the gauge is the same. And it kind of, well, it's an artistic choice now. But yeah, no, I screwed it up. So that I decided, and then to make sure that it kind of tied off and looked intentional, the very last color change, so in this case green, I switched from Dalby to Telemark again. And you can see Telemark looks a little bit more braided. So, and the hat wasn't too bad. I mean, it's not necessarily my color scheme, but it does kind of look like the Northern Lights. But I don't know how well you can see it on the right side. I think it's a bit more obvious on the wrong side, or the technical wrong side. Let's see. And this is the actual one in the photo that I used for a thumbnail. That is the wrong side, by the way, of the hat. You'll notice because the lines are much more, they're much more defined. But there you got Telemark. It looks kind of like braiding through here, a little bit more busier anyway. And then you have these ones where you see a little bit more slant. That's Dalby on the wrong side. And then right there you can see the two against each other. So it's really, it's hard to see. If you don't know what you're looking for, you won't even know it's there. See, my gauge was a little, oh, that's because I spliced there. My gauge looked a little off there. I did steam block this though, by the way, because I wanted everything to look as uniform as possible. But yeah, there you can see it kind of quite clearly. The green ones look like it has more dots going in, and there's actually a slant that's visible in the Dalby ones. But I gotta say, from the right side, the technical right side, it wasn't as easy to see the difference. So anyway, if you screw up and you switch stitches, just keep going. But no, I gotta do this right. So, but I love the thin fabric it makes, by the way. So, if you're going to go outside, you might want to take off your microphone then. Yeah, I did remind him last time. Let's see. This is Telemark. This is the technical right stitch. Technical right side anyway. So you can see it's a bit more raised there. That's kind of how I always defined it. And the technical wrong side. And this yarn is slightly thinner than what I was using on this one here. So hopefully, if I'm on a mission from God and finish this thing tonight, it will stay Telemark and not switch to Dalby. Yeah, the difference could be the yarn over. Yeah, the yarn over at the end, it makes it a plated edge. So one of the biggest things, and I think, I'm surprised I didn't notice this earlier. Let me grab a needle so I can use it as a pointer. There you go. Because you're doing the yarn over this loop and not under it, all your stitches on the end, when you go to grab more, I should say, when you go to connect, they're slanted this way. They're going like this. Whereas if you were doing the yarn, the working yarn under that loop, then it, oops, lost my yarn, it ran away. Then the stitches would slant this way on the tops, which means if you're going to do F2, that's no problem with Dalby. You'd have F1 and F2, but here, the only way to do anything similar to F2, you would have to actually do like that, which is like under the X is what Sana has it written as. So in this case, the closest you could do to F2 would be under the X, and you can only go under the X if you're doing a plated edge stitch, by the way. Little fun thing to know there. So I have to work on that, and I can show you how we did it. And this, by the way, is the reclaimed yarn. You can see it's all wavy because I ripped it out of something. This is the hat I got to make for the guy that brought us wood this weekend. He has a friend who's that's just also stitch. It's just hard to tell because it's a little bit rolled. We have there's a guy that makes the houses in the village, the Grindehus anyway, the ones that look really. They're big and solid, and they kind of, I don't know what a Grindehus is, a Grinde, but it's a Viking kind of type look to it, but not the regular houses that we're living in. Anyway, and he built those, and so he has access to some wood. So we asked him to pick up some for us, and he told us how much it would be, but actually he says, no, he just picks it up and drives out because he likes us in Gudvangen and everybody out here. So he's just doing it as a favor, but he doesn't actually take anything. He doesn't get anything for it. The money goes straight to the guy. So I thought, oh, that was nice of you. And I said I should buy him a bottle or something. He's like, no, you absolutely cannot do that. But I know he's been eyeballing the super expensive hats in the store because the store takes a commission, and my time is worth something too. So I thought I will make him a hat. And I told him today when he picked up the trailer, after we emptied it, and he was very happy. Well, Karl is too sick to do that. I'm doing a spit splice because I'm not very corona friendly. Okay. How you doing over there, Karl? You hanging in there?
I'm fine.
Okay, you can have your...
be the worst advertiser in the history of marketing in my ever.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not trying to make money here. What am I not selling this time?
No, you are calling your hats super expensive.
They're super expensive, but they're worth it.
Yeah,
you know how long it takes to make this? Yeah. When I think I finished it about 3 a.m. or something like that. Then I had started it before YouTube, and I don't know what it was. I was on a mission from God and decided I was not going to sleep until then, but it takes time, so it's worth it. But some people just want a hat, in which case that's a lot of money to spend on a hat. People ask, how much do you take for Nalbinding, by the way? Okay, so in Karl, you have to do the math on this one. In Gudvangen, but then again, yes, selling it through our Viking shop. When our Vikings make it, they can sell things on commission, so the shop takes a percentage as well. But I sell, if I have less expensive yarn and a simpler, faster stitch, like, well, so it's thick, so it works up fast, like Oslo stitch, we take $5.99. 599 kroner. And how much is that?
In what?
Dollars. US dollars. Let's go with US dollars. And you could do euro, why not? So simple. Also, this hat, no, that hat would have been more, but this hat anyway. Although it is a bit of work to reclaim the wool, by the way. So it's just me being recycling. Now I'm jealous of you, Nikki says. Oh, I gotta read why. Can't see the chat and needlebind at the same time. How much was
It's
$5.99?
52, just above $52.
$52. And what would that be in euro? I'm making it difficult for you, but we're from all over the world here.
51 euro and 5 euro cents.
51 euro and 5 euro cent. Here's a microphone back, Karl, so they can hear you. So that's about how much the regular hats would be in our shop, and it's because our Vikings are making them. So when we have, I think, 5 people that are needle binding right now, and we have them when we have them, when we don't. But if it is a more expensive yarn, for example, this sulka yarn with the silk in it and everything, this one is more expensive usually. Or it has a more complicated and time-consuming stitch, then we go in the $7.99 category. And 799 kroner is how much?
68 euro.
68
give or
euro.
take.
And then dollars would be about 67 then? Something like that. So there's all these methods of how you can choose how much to charge.
Almost
but
$70.
Almost $70, yeah. So the store makes a little bit of percent out of it, and then we get the rest. But we decide the prices normally, except for we have, like I said, 5 needle binders. And because we have 5 of them doing that, they all want different prices, so we had to kind of like put them into 2 categories. It's either this or this, because the customers don't understand the difference, and you don't want one null binder outselling or underselling another one. So that's kind of how we figured that one out. Let's see, I think I'm going to be beyond this split here, this splice. Socks, they're usually anywhere from 550 to 1,000 kroner. You don't have to do that. Neck warmers are about 1,000 at least, and then hoods are well over 1,500. I think they're up to 2,000 now, but we don't have any of those. We haven't had any in a while. And wrist warmers are anywhere from 350 to 550, depending on the work. Mittens too. Yeah, let's see. There. Okay, so anyway. But yeah, there's a reason. There's this picture that somebody puts out that the yarn costs this much. This is the amount of hours that you work on it, and if you do the amount of like the average minimum wage paid per hour, etc., then it turns out those pair of socks should be like a lot more than what you were actually charging.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So if you kind of go with that. But so if they're just looking for a simple hat to keep warm, then it's expensive. But people who know what they're getting, like what they like. Okay, so this is Telemark. If you didn't see it the last week, you're working from these 3 end loops. Loop number 1, loop number 2, and this is loop number 3. So you take the first one, put it on your thumb, like that, and we can connect F1, but I'm going to show you what we're doing first. So you got loop number 1 is on your thumb now, loop number 2 is there, and loop number 3 is there. So these are the ones we're working with. Then I'll connect first. Then you can lift loop number 2 up, and then pick up number 3 from the back side, and then go back and pick up number 2 again, go under number 1, and stay above your working yarn. That is one way to do Telemark. And take the old one off, of course. You can do that one more time. So you lift up loop number 2. This is actually how I make it. Scoop number 3 from the behind. Yep, Karl's sitting there with the innuendos going, not for children. Go back, pick up number 2, and then go under the first loop, which is on the thumb, and then over the working yarn. If it was Dalby, you'd be going under the working yarn. But there is a little bit more beginner-friendly way of making this stitch. Let's see if we just skip the connection loop here. You can pick up the second loop and put it on your forefinger, like that, so you can see that the third loop is there. Then you can do your connect. Just pick up the third loop, then scoop up that second loop, and then go under the first. So it's a bit easier way to do it. And then when Max was doing Russian 2 plus 2 plus 2, he's actually doing the same thing. It's just that he has 2 loops on his thumb. He's taking this 3rd and the 4th loop behind and lifting those up, and then picking up the 5th and the 6th, because 2 plus 2 plus 2 is going over 6 stitches, 6 loops. So he's doing the same thing, but he's always doing 2 loops instead of 1, which is what we're doing. This is 1 plus 1 plus 1. So I can define him there if you can't see him. So, okay, I need to catch up on some chat here. I haven't seen it in a while. And if you have any questions for Karl, we do need to get rid of the hat. Shipping is on us. And that anywhere in the world, we'll take care of that. Might not have tracking, depending on how expensive it is. Okay, let's see. I'll let you stare at that for a minute. I gotta look up what Noken Papa is. Papua. Noken Papua versus just Papa. I want to say Papa, but it's spelled like Papua. So I want to say both. Okay, there's a third way of doing that telemark stitch, by the way. I can't remember exactly what it was she was doing. I think it's just when she's working flat. I think she did this one, and then how does that go? And I should have done my homework on this one to look it up, but it'd be this one, skip that one, I think, and then come out and then do it the same way again. Back, but I don't want to mess up my work or my gauge, so I'm not going to do it. But there's a way to do it flat as well, and some people think that's a bit easier to do it like this or something. I think I did it wrong. I don't know, something like that. But anyway, let's see. Oh, there's a lot of interesting chat on there. Okay, that's a lot to read in there, but definitely keep an eye on the chat when you want to see how about the Billum thing. Versus Papua New Guinea. Nella knows what she's talking about. They're both really good, actually, Nella and James. So it's going to be an interesting conversation. Let's see. Nikki says it's supposed to be summer here, so making the leg warmers for winter when my dance studio is freezing. Oh, that's actually a really good idea. Telemark is nice and dense, and I want to see this Dalby Telemark piece. It made me chuckle in the Facebook group. Yeah. They're really, really good for that. And yeah, leg warmers are not only just great for dance studios, but if you're a Viking and you don't want to make socks, for example, because your mother perhaps made you 10,000 pairs of really nice thick knitted socks, so you don't need Nalbound socks, you can always kind of cheat and do a leg warmer or a boot cuff, because nobody really sees what's in your shoe but you. So just saying, I've done that. So I have a few pairs of leg warmers as well. Ruddy Spias wrote, I bought 2 balls of one yarn color for a pair of socks, and when the balls ended, the socks were a bit short, so I went to buy some more. Turns out there was a limited color, and now I'm hoping that it isn't discontinued, but since you do both at once, I could just add a different color at the top, and it looks more deliberate than if you were doing to do one at a time, like in the knitting. Yes, you raise a good point. I'm going to put this camera back up here, and I will show you exactly. I've done the same thing. Karl, you want to hand me the socks again? Then I'll turn the camera up, or the light. There. Okay, so these ones, it was for stash busting. So I had the yarn that I had, and that was that. This is what I was going to use, and I needed to use it all up. So I was trying. I usually make my socks this way, but in this case, I made them from the toe up, because I wanted to try Mary Poissonen's pattern in her book with one needle to see how the numbers translated, because she used numbers and I usually have to go by centimeters. Anyway, I knew I didn't know how far this yarn was going to make it. And so I did them in tandem, and this is there's a lot of reasons to do them in tandem, but this is another good one. So when I ran out at about the same time. I knew I was running out, so I saved a little bit of the red that was left and split it in 2. So I have half for this sock, half for this sock, and then it's easier to do it like that, would start using the purple. So I used the same length of yarn of the purple on each sock, and then I would stick in one of the red ones, and then I used another length of purple, same amount, and then I stuck in another red one, and the same thing all the way up. So it kind of looked like the color was intentional to carry up, but this is actually because I was running out of yarn. And at the very top, I had this little piece left of something that I made. Oh, there's brown in here too, actually. It's 2 colors. I had a little bit of that and a little bit of that, so I split them in half, put one on one and one on the other. But that's a good reason to make them 2 at a time, so that you have, you can, if you run out of yarn, you can make it look like it was an intended thing. But that's exactly what this is. This is, I don't have any more yarn, it's gone. So, and I'm not going to be able to get any more. It was my mom's yarn stash. Another reason to do them in tandem is because if you're Nalbinding loosely or one day for some reason, it'll be the same on both. Or if you're super tense with it and it's tighter, it'll be tighter on the same place in both of them. And the most obvious reason of all is so you don't lose your count. You won't have to remember how many stitches did I increase and how many did I decrease, etc. You'll know because you did them both at the same time. So good job. I think you can absolutely continue your socks in a different color, no problem. And even if it's the same yarn, just a different dye lot, it will just have a little slight color shift. This is a case of that, by the way. I don't know how well that shows up, but you can see that there's the green changes. This is the same green. This is just a different dye lot. But to make it look intentional, I started with this darker one and I ended with the darker one. So I put it in the middle so it would look like it was supposed to be that way. But this is also, that's all I've got left of the pink and the red. So, okay. How you doing over there, Karl?
Well, I'm not well, but...
No. You're still a little toasty. It's a good thing you're wearing that hat. No, you're a tough sport. How is your blueberry tea?
It's done and gone.
Good boy. Do you want to just go straight for the honey now?
No.
No? I would. It's
I like
good.
the vodka idea, though.
You like the vodka idea? I think we have a little bit of vanilla vodka.
Yeah, probably will.
So it's like the girly version, but it's so good. Okay, we can try that. Not for kids! You know what they did for cough syrup and my grandpa's age?
Cognac.
Brandy. Brandy or bourbon and honey, 50-50. And then they would put it in the microwave, heat it up, and then...
Brandy is basically cognac made outside of the cognac district.
Yeah, exactly. So that was his thing.
Kind of funny because Norway also tried the Prohibition thing, just like America did, with much the same results. But one funny thing is that we didn't really get much organized crime because the doctors just kind of turned into the mafia as soon as we had Prohibition. Because back then people thought that cognac was good for you.
You're not wearing your microphone. I hope you heard him all this time. Jeez. I just noticed.
Because back then people thought that cognac was good for your... it fortified you against disease. It was basically good for your immune system. So, and you also had the Spanish flu at about exactly the same time. So everybody went to the doctor and said, okay, I'm not sick, but I'm afraid I might be sick very soon, so please let me have some cognac. So the doctor wrote the prescription for cognac, and then I could buy cognac legally. So I don't think the Prohibition had any impact on Norwegian drinking at all. If it had any impact, it just got people to drink cognac instead of beer.
That would be interesting to see how that... You has different effect over here, too, than we did around Was it? No, Norway had Prohibition, too?
Yes, that's what I just said.
Yeah, you were just saying that. I was going to say, wait a minute, I thought that was just an American thing, but...
Well, basically what happened...
Suddenly a light bulb just went on in my head.
Basically what happened is that because of a lack of basically everything after the First World War, alcohol was considered a luxury article, so people couldn't get it anyway. And then it was pretty easy to basically just go, okay, we can make a thing illegal that we don't have anyway, fine. But then the economy gets better in the 20s. So we have a popular vote on whether or not to have a prohibition, and we decide to have a prohibition with a pretty good majority. And then it turns out not to work at all. And we also do have some ordinary bootlegging.
Yeah.
So we have another vote, I think it is like 4 years later, maybe a little bit longer. Where we basically go, okay, this is stupid, this doesn't work, let's go back to normal. And normally for Norway is that it's only the government who is allowed to sell alcohol, or at least strong alcohol. Which is also stupid in so many ways.
Yeah. No, that was interesting to know. You also had, during war times, this is after, of course, Prohibition, but wasn't it? After? Yeah, the war times where you had...
It's between World War I and World War II.
Yeah, because you also had rations. I remember my kid's great-grandmother, or my ex's grandmother, she was talking about how they had to have used... There was rationing anyway, too, with bread and things.
Yeah.
You could only buy... You had to use, like...
That
was something in my grandpa's days, too, in the United
States. It lasted surprisingly long for some products that were rationing into the early 60s.
Yeah.
Because basically the entire... after the Second World War, the entire production system and distribution system in the world was more or less shut down. So you have to prioritize the important things.
like copper. So we had
So
steel pennies for a while too.
yeah, but that's in the actual war
Oh, sorry.
because they needed copper to make brass for shell casings.
Yeah.
So we had iron money in those days.
Yeah.
But that's basically the Germans who are printing Norwegian money who isn't worth anything.
Yeah.
Um,
See you, Aunt.
but yeah,
Oh, that's quite interesting to know. Wow, it's already gotten to 7:30 already. So, or 7:30 local time. There's really good chat going on here. So, I think we should stay up a little longer so they can keep talking about this one. This is quite good. I'm going to try to see if I can get really good chat. This is nice to see. I'm going to have so much fun reading this back afterwards. There was the 2 balls, hoping that it would have enough. Oh, by the way, Ann Decker posted a pair of socks. That I don't know if she posted them yet. I saw she put them on Discord. By the way, there's somebody. I told you somebody opened a needle binding on Discord. It's not needle binding though. It's craft. Sorry. And then it's a craft one or whatever. But I'll see if I can find the link and share it. But everything goes, including needle binding. And they posted on the needle binding, one of the needle binding groups, that there's a Discord chat open, and there was a rush of null binders in there as well. So that's quite null binders of the world representing. But yeah, so Anne, I saw, had posted in their picture of the socks that she was doing from the yarn she got in Gudvangen. There's it's expensive yarn, but it's so nice. Anyway, it's from Auerland, which is like 2 tunnels over. It's the same type of sheep as ours, and it is machine spun, but it's the natural color of the sheep. So they kind of like kept the darks together and the lights together. So Anne got 1 dark and 1 light, and has been working on it. And it's thin. I mean, this is fat compared to that yarn. So it was much thinner. But she finished the socks, and I forget which stitch she did. I think she did them in Dalby. They look so cool. Oh, they look so cool. Anyway, but it was nice to see, because everyone asks, how many skeins of yarn do you need for a pair of socks? And if you're knitting, yeah, obviously you're going to need a little bit less than you would if you're needle binding. But I always tell them 1 pair of, that's actually 100-gram skein, so it might be enough for 1 pair of socks. But I always tell them assume 100 gram per sock. So in this case, Anne bought 2 skeins just to be on the safe side as well. She knows this as well. This was nothing new for her. But actually, she got some pretty good ones. And when I'm thinking of socks, they go up to the knee kind of a thing. But if she had, the way she did it, you could see how far she would have gotten. So if she had done, let's see, grab a foot here. If she had done 1 skein, just one of those 100 grams, I would have thought she'd have made it about here, but she probably would have made it about here on the foot, starting from the toe. But then she put the white in there just to make sure, because she wasn't sure if she was going to run out, and saved enough of the brown left that she could put a brown band at the top to make it look like it was intentional to have the white in the middle. And they looked really good, and she actually has enough left over to make a pair of wrist warmers, so you have to check those out if you haven't seen them. But it was nice to see, because that yarn is so beautiful, but oh my god, it's time consuming. If you were going to knit, no problem. But to needle bind with it, that takes some patience, and she did such a great job. PJ's here. Let's see. Nikki said that happened with the scarf. The next skein was a totally different color when you have the dye lots changing. Yeah. So what I would do is intentionally, I have been, if I knew I had 2 different dye lots, I think that actually happened in a blue. Something I made that was blue. It was a hood. I made a hood in blue. We're talking a couple years ago, actually, though. Then I knew there were 2 different dye lots, but I wasn't sure. So just like I did with that sock, I would feed in the other dye lot every now and then. And you can see when it's all done, because you couldn't see when you were doing it, but when it was all done, you could see it would, every once in a while, the row would turn a little darker, and then it would go back, and then it would turn a little darker again. So if you displace it a bit, you can kind of get away with it, but then you kind of need to act before you run out of yarn. But when you know you're going to run out of yarn, and then it can look intentional. That's my little tip, but that's just one way I like to deal with that problem, because I have to use everything. It drives me nuts if I don't. What's the difference between Dalby and Telemark? Just 1 extra loop? Nope. I think I might have said it, but just in case I didn't, I'll show you one more time. Let's see. Lost my thing here. I will tip the camera up. There we go. Okay. So Telemark goes like this. We're going to do it too fast now. I can't see my loop. There. Like that. And then you finish off going over your working thread. That's Telemark. And then Dalby It was really hard to see though in that color yarn, so maybe that's why. So Dalby, you still connect everything, but your yarn will be going this way in Dalby. Your end loops will not be pointed this way. This is Telemark, but in Dalby they'll be pointed this way. So you pick one up, then you do your stitch, and then when you finish Dalby, you go under this one, just like that, and then pull through. If I do it now, I'm gonna switch and have to do this hat all over again too. But that would be the difference. It's just a matter of going over or under. But there is a slight difference in appearance. It was not obvious to the world. This is Dalby, and this blue one is Telemark. But it is more obvious on the technical wrong side. This is Dalby, and this is Telemark. And it looks a little bit more like dots on the back side of a Telemark. But like I said, it was so close that I just went with it. So when I suspect this pink one might have been a hair thicker. But anyway, I just went with it. It was around here that I screwed up. It was around here when I noticed I had switched stitches, and I thought there's no way I'm going to pick that up. So I just kept going. And then to make it look intentional, when I did my last color change, I made it Telemark intentionally. So I've never actually seen the Northern Lights. Well, apparently they're supposed to get stronger and stronger for the next 2 years, I guess, if the web pages are correct. But you need to get away from light pollution to see them properly. But I have never seen them like I did on that boat, though, because I've been in the Oslo area for so long that when Oslo area has light pollution. So when we happened to be on the fjord on the ferry boat, I call it a ferry, it's a boat. Okay, so no cars. Anyway, but we were on the boat anyway, then it was going through parts of the fjord that were really dark, and oh my god, it was just insane. And the amount of people that were on that boat too that didn't even realize that it was going on outside too. Suddenly people were just kind of...
Not so much that I didn't realize. Well, some of them probably didn't realize, but I just don't care.
No, the Norwegians seen it before lots of time, but they were really, really vivid. Let's see. You can do F2 on a Telemark, says Nella, but it requires scooping. Okay, yeah, I was kind of having a feeling that might be how you do it, but I wasn't sure. And I didn't want to be wrong about it, but okay. Otherwise, I thought, you might as well just go under the X, because that's going to give you the same amount. I would think that would give you about the same amount of density as an F2 on Dalby. Now we're getting geeky. I'm not sure. I'm going to play with that now. I'm going to have to do some samples. Let's see. Nikki says, I found a 10 million year old fossil in a shop that looks like a needle, and it has a hole in the top. And so I bought it, and now I have a historical needle to do historical fiber art. That's a great idea. And then that was a cool find. And then Raymond says, a prehistoric needle. I like it. If it works, it works. And everyone's, of course, jealous. Max says, for the F2 in Nalbinding with a plated edge over the needle yarn, this would be the... Yeah, that would be the Parikala style. Why did I want to read that as Perkele? It's the Finnish names. Which means something completely different. Nikki says, I just almost did Dalby right there. It's not a great needle. It's more like a token of fun. I will mostly stick to my wooden and bone needles most of the time. You could probably use it like with thicker yarn or something, and then it like in doing Oslo stitch, then it might be a little bit easier, and the thickness won't matter. Red Eastby says, is there a reason for doing the point at the end of the hat? I see that a lot, but never see it in knitters and crocheters do it. You can do it in knit and crochet too. It's just most people... it's like the I don't know, have you ever heard the song, It's My OCD, some think it's supposed to be flat all the time. So most of them will make it flat, and if it's a bump at all, it's a screw up. They decreased too slowly or increased too slowly, depending on which direction they're making of. So, but I noticed Anders Hovland, one of our Vikings with all the tattoos, he wears a hat with a point in it, and I've seen a couple other people wear a hat with a point on it as well. We call it a happy hat. For obvious reasons. Anyway, I don't know why. There's no fines for needle binding hats in the Viking Age either. So, but for some reason, they're doing some of these ones. I think maybe there were some felted ones that might have had that tip on it. I don't know. But because that Viking, in specific, wears his hat with the tip on it through the village, everybody else wants to have one too. So now I have to kind of go 50-50. Half of the hats have to be happy, and half of the hats, well, maybe it's like male and female hats. I don't know, but I have to do about 50-50 because every time he wears that hat in the village, people come in and say, "Where can I get a hat like he has?" And so that's why it has to be represented. But it's so if you didn't increase or decrease or whatever enough on the end, and it starts to point, go with it. People want them. But there's otherwise no other reason. I just do it because that's what they ask for. So I guess maybe we have reenactment, reenactors reenactment. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Yeah, we do allow. I mean, because there's no null-bound hats found in the Viking Age, we do allow it though because the technique is older and there is some null binding found right after the Viking Age as well. So we have that little gray area. It's kind of like drums. They had drums evidence. They found evidence of drums before the Viking Age and after the Viking Age, but somehow during the Viking Age they forgot about drums. Didn't know what they are.
It's probably not it. But
No.
If something isn't something you throw into the grave,
Yeah.
then the odds of finding it is much, much lower than if it is part of the grave goods.
And it pretty much has to be in a bog to survive too.
Not exactly, but you have to be lucky to find any remains of it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Nikki says my kid's school has a market. Her friend saw me Nalbinding and said, "I can sell your hats and give you 20% of the end." I explained that no one at the school could afford the hats. You never know though, because I was selling my hats at a better price in the village when I was a freeman, but now I can't double book my time. I can't both work in the village, get paid to work by the hour, and then sell things as well on top of that while I'm working, and take all the credit. So for me, it's just easier to put it in the shop. But
generally speaking, Karin is a better salesman than I am. But there is one thing that Karin keeps doing.
I do.
I don't do, and I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. I never ever use the terms expensive or cheap about anything.
No.
Because I have no idea how rich this particular tourist is. For all I know, if
No,
somebody
you'll never know.
if somebody comes from America to visit a Viking village in Norway, they might, for all I know, be rich enough to buy the whole village twice.
Yep.
So I just say, no, it costs this, because this.
Yeah, no, this is what the price is. Yeah.
I have no opinion on whether that's expensive or cheap.
No.
If somebody points out how
Yeah.
comically expensive our swords are, I will tell them that, yeah, no, that's because we're idiots.
I gotta try that with the hats. Yeah, no, I know you said the hat was expensive, but that's because you're an idiot.
No, the swords are expensive because we are idiots.
Oh, because we are idiots. Why are we an idiot?
Because you have a calculus that you do for how much profit you want for a thing. So that's why you don't buy things from shops, because then you get that calculus twice.
Yeah. Okay.
So our shop swords are bought at consumer price, and then we take our advance on top of that. So they are much, much more expensive than they should have been.
Yeah, that's the thing too, because in the beginning we were just buying the hats out straight outright, but you never know what somebody's going to buy, and we've got all these handcrafts that we'd love to have. So the easiest way to do it now is to take me on commission. For example, I have the hats that I delivered in 3 years ago. Fortunately, there's only one hat left from that original batch, but it took some time. There was also the big rainbow stripe socks. Those ones actually took about, they're really great. Everybody wants to go and touch them all the time, but it took about 2 years before somebody actually bought them. And they paid the full price and everything, and it was fine, but you just don't know what people are going to want. But when I was in the village, I was selling them for much less because I thought that was pretty much the going rate of it. And then when we have them in the village, I have to price them up in order to still get the amount that I want after the commission is taken out of it. And I was surprised, and very happily surprised, they will sell at that price. It's just hang in there for the right buyers, but they'll catch on. So they'll figure it out anyway when they know what Nalbinding is, or when they know what it is. They're happy to spend the money on it because it doesn't unravel. It lasts a lot longer. It's durable, and it's also very hard to find if you don't happen to be in the Viking community anyway. That's my opinion on that. But yeah, I'm really good at underselling my own stuff. But in this case, it's actually I should have gone with that price in the beginning. I thought it was ungodly expensive when somebody mentioned it, but no, they will sell for that. So that was good to know. Do you want the microphone?
No.
Okay, I'm still catching up on chat. There was talking about autism in March, the autism awareness one that we were thinking of, too.
Did I also have a political hat?
No, they have it was the infinity thingy. We were talking about making something. Sorry, I'm trying not to burp. It was Max and Peruta had this idea. Let's see. Max says for the where am I? Kind of further on here. For the light blue, I'm using it to symbolize Autism Awareness Month this year. Yeah, and then another one says true. The light blue works better with a light gray, and I feel like mine are very dark gray. um, and a fun idea: have a color for Nalbinding that relates to awareness. Yeah. So we were thinking about that. Was March, I think it was Autism Awareness Month, and we were thinking about maybe making just like a ribbon or infinity or something in the light blue. So I'll see what those two come up with, and then we can absolutely do that. That might actually be a really good one in Dalby, for example. So it looks like a little ribbon like. Let's see, scanning down real quick here. Maybe some of the northern people can tell me last week there were northern lights, and I am looking for a decent but cheap camera to catch the southern lights. Totally off topic. No, I was actually surprised. The pictures that I got, I have to post that little video too, by the way.
Yeah.
The newer iPhone was better, but it picked up colors I didn't realize were in there. And then when you see it on the camera, and then you see there. Another one is the thumbnail that I took for this. I took it about 4 o'clock this afternoon, and the sun doesn't come up, and it was getting pretty dark, but it actually pushed the light, and it looks like it was a lot light. I didn't think I would be able to get a decent picture. I thought I'd get a shadow, but it turned out quite nice. So some cameras are better than others at taking in light. And then if you don't want it to take it in too much light, you have to try to play with the saturation on it. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Wronghild was here. She says, wish you all a happy weekend. You have to say hi to Trim. Let's see. Can I ask Karl to look at my archery question from earlier in the chat? Ooh, I have to find it. There's a really active chat. That's why we're staying on a little bit extra.
That's very early. That was the very end before you came from.
Yeah, did I miss half of it? That might be earlier than that. The one with the Druid. There we go. I have an archery question for you, Karl. What draw weight are the bows that you use in the village, and what are your thoughts on Vikings other than Roos using Hunnish style bows?
I don't know if there are any finds of the recurve horseman's bows. The draw weights we use in the village are, well, the adult bows are, they were 25 pounds when they were new. But they're probably not quite that hard anymore, so I will say somewhere a little bit north of 20 pounds. The children's bows, I believe I heard once that they were 12, and there are no numbers on them, but 12 seems to be about correct when it comes to how hard they are to pull. We also have a 60-pound bow that I saw Roger was gluing it the other day, so I haven't dared touching it since he was gluing it, because I'm not sure if it still works as it is supposed to.
I'd be afraid of that one, yeah. It'll be tested, obviously, before that goes to public. But,
yeah, the thing with bows, and now the way I understand it, in Norway you had two distinct types of bows in the Viking Age. You have the Vikings that used longbow style round bows, very similar to the English or Welsh longbow. The Sami people used flat bows. The flat bows are, they have flat limbs. So instead of having a round bow profile, the profile is flattened.
Oh.
Um,
yeah, sorry.
They're much harder to make. It is much more time consuming to make a flat bow than it is to make a round bow. But they are a little bit better. The 100-pound flat bow has a quicker release. It transfers the energy to the arrow quicker than a 100-pound round bow. So they are objectively a little bit better for a lot more work. The Vikings are mostly farmers, and the Sami people back then are mostly hunters. So the bow was more important for the Sami person than it is for the Viking. And if a Viking needed a good bow for whatever reason, he could buy or steal one from a Sami person. So they never really kind of had the culture for making these flat bows. But the flat bows are kind of primitive compared to the Hunnic or Mongolian Hungarian bows like Rune has. they existed at the time, but if anybody
They're recursive
except
bows.
for the Kievan Rus actually used them, I don't know.
Yeah.
They are kind of a necessity if you are using them from horseback. But the Vikings don't fight from horseback nearly at all. We are not in horse country. The Normans does, but they don't. Their archers are not mounted. But the Vikings, I don't know of any tradition for mounted archery in Scandinavia at that time. Not later either.
Robert says there have been some finds that are thought to be horn plate from the Hunnish bow Slias, if I'm saying that right. Or is it Sias? Found in Birka. Runa's has a horn plate on it.
It could be.
Actually, I think the ones in the village, some of them have
But
horn on the side too.
I'm not familiar with. Well, even an ordinary longbow will often have horn reinforcement at the connection point for the string in both hands. The composite bows, some of them have an inner layer of horn. I don't know why, because horn is not. I can't understand why that would be ideal for it. But if a part of the bow is not supposed to bend at all, then horn might be the way to go. I am not really familiar with these bows and how they are made. I know it is extremely time consuming though.
And I saw the ones that, if you're okay, say you're holding the bow in here, so the bow goes like this. They have horn here, but that I thought was to kind of save from the wear and tear from the arrow going through, or maybe because of the pressure point. I don't know.
You could. That would
be
make
like a piece
that
there.
would make sense, but I don't know if that was a thing in the Viking Age.
No, in the Viking Age I have no idea, but I was just wondering if that would be. That seems like to me like a good use of horn anyway. On a bow, I think Runa's has that too, but Runa has like a recursive. Isn't it a recursive bow? Sorry.
Runa has one of the bows he's talking about.
Yeah, the Hunnish style.
Hungarian Runa calls it, but
yeah.
All the mounted archer people, the Huns, the Mongolians, and the Scythians, probably used bows that were very similar to that. Because you need to be able to progress. You need a bow that has a good draw weight, and you need it to be short enough that you can move it over the neck of the horse. That is very hard with the longbow. The Japanese have a thing they do where they use an actual full-size longbow, and it's actually bigger than a normal longbow from horseback. But the downside with the Japanese way of doing things is that you can only shoot directly out to the side. So your horse can basically shoot broadsides in one direction, but it can't. You don't have the mobility of a Hun or a Mongolian or a Scythian.
By the way, it seems that not only PJ but maybe Arlene thought we just started. But there hasn't been a time change anyway. But my clock. No, I don't know. Anyway, no, we went overtime because the chat was really good, so you have to go back and read the chat. But I wanted to be able to, if as long as we're up, then they can keep the chat going. So it was interesting to see. But I'm glad you guys made it. That was quite good. It's a little. It would be better if I posted these enough in advance so that you could get like a, well, because you subscribe and you hit notifications, and then you get like a notification in the mail or something, or email, or however you choose to get it, or an SMS that says it's going to be starting soon, or it will be starting in 5 hours, or it's been scheduled. But because I'm horrible and posted about an hour before we go on, you don't get much notice. But we've been doing 6:30 Norwegian time, and we'll be doing that for the most of the winter, due to transport issues and other things going on. But eventually we might switch back to 6 o'clock so that poor New Zealand and Australia don't need so many toothpicks to stay awake. Let's see. But then Roger and Novia would have to get up even earlier for breakfast in Huntington Beach, California. No, anyway, so I'm not sure. There might be something over there about the clock. I'm not quite sure about that. But we haven't had any changes over here, though, anyway. Not until March. And you fall back. No, fall back in the fall, and you leap in the March ahead. PJ says I've considered an infinity design with rainbow wool. That would be quite cool to see. Yeah, I want to see those too. I kind of like that idea as far as for autism awareness. Maybe we could even take these into the forums too and see what they say. And by the way, did any of you guys get to check out the Ravelry groups or the Reddit groups to see how they differ from the Facebook groups? I still think the Facebook groups has much more image wise, but it's kind of fun to see because you've got the people that are absolutely anti-Facebook there, and the other ones there in the Discord there, in the Ravelry there, in the Reddit, and then you have the people that are only on Facebook. So you kind of your perspective gets much bigger, and it's interesting to see the different things. Nipple hats, calls Max. Yeah, these. Yep, it's a nipple hat. Well, I used to call him a nipple hat. I was very happy to see. But not for kids. But eventually, I don't know, maybe it was too much time around Charlotta and her eggplants, but it's now a happy hat. It has a mind of its own. It's always at the end.
We've had this debate before.
I know!
And as I keep pointing out, nipples are for kids.
Okay.
That's exactly what I'm for.
He's not wrong. Oh, we always get goofy at the end. Maybe it's Torben's honey in there that's doing it to us. Peaches says, I hope Karl is feeling better. These Christmas viruses are a PETA. Yeah, I agree. And then, but well, you're gonna, yeah, you're not like dying at least anyway. You've got like a regular cold, I think. Yeah, a little bit of a cough. You got a fever. And you look like crap. Well, you look better now because I made him put on a nice color.
As long as I can speak normally on Monday, everything is fine.
Yeah.
If I can't speak normally on Monday, then it's doctor time.
Yeah, that's the difference. Yeah, because he has to not only talk a lot because he's guiding, but he's also got to do it in cold weather outside.
Yeah.
So, and you're a smoker. Bad. Registry says it's not so bad to have a couple of items on hand as well. If they sell immediately, they will come into the shop and ask why you only have 2 of them. Haha. No, that's true. The one hat that had been around for 3 years, that one for some reason hadn't sold. That is actually done and finished 2+2, and it's a nice yellow dyed wool. But sometimes you get tired of looking at it, and you're like, you know what? Let them have it for $5.99. So I put it on. I lowered the price, but that would be the only hat with that stitch that's in that category. Purely because I'm afraid it's going to get dirty if I leave it in the store too much longer. So maybe they get a good sale, but you can't do that if you don't have enough hats. Nikki says my bow is 40 to 45 pounds and handmade by me. We had some people that were teaching a class in bow making over in the eastern part of Norway. I think closer to Kongsberg and Drammen. I think they were maybe around Horten. Those always look really interesting, but we don't have anyone over here teaching those classes. Cat puking? Yep, hairball. All of a sudden I hear this. It's one of the cats has a hairball over there just in the kitchen. Careful where you step later. Yeah. Albert says, back thought my brother-in-law, he's back. Thought my brother-in-law taught my brother-in-law how to use a ferrule rod. Do you know what that is? And then Raymond says it's a very good skill to have. Albert. And then, oops, I just scrolled in a minute then. We got Flames, but he needs more practice. Do you know what that is? How to use a ferrule rod? What a ferrule rod is?
It's, Anders Hovland has one. It's a stick thingy that you rub against any kind of steel and it produces lots of sparks.
I was trying to figure out what's a ferrule rod in the words of bows. Okay. That's a fire and steel, yeah. I saw somebody else had gotten fire steel for Christmas, which was quite cool. Fun to try with. We're in a couple different conversations. Oh, flint is so much fun. I got one for Christmas. It was Nikki. We're still trying to get some of those for the shop. I'm not sure. We have the strikers, but not the flint. Let's see. No, I was birthday present shopping. Sorry, says Arlene. Oh, okay, so Arlene's clock was right. But she made it. And no, overtime day too. Good job. 6:30 a.m. is perfect, says Nikki. It's Sunday morning. No lying for me. Raymond says I can give the toothpicks a rest. Laugh out loud. Well, eventually we'll get maybe a little bit earlier, but let's see. The idea though is that these always stay up, so you can always go back and binge watch later. I saw Jay was binge watching us. He even shamelessly posted a picture of his cats cuddling on his laps with you and me in the background on the TV. And I'm like, I see what you did there. Flattery will get you everywhere. He's probably looking for a better Viking house this summer. um, I have one in a tan color, says Raymond. The Pharaoh rod on the side. I've never tried one of those. Yeah, but that you said Anders has one. Not the blacksmith, but the other Anders.
Blacksmith might have one too, but
yeah. But you've seen his. Maybe Karin can post the channel on Discord. Yep, I could, but I have to. I'm out of tab, but I can try to. I had to close it to make sure that I wouldn't have an issue with speed. So I'll open Facebook. Hopefully, it won't slow down too much. Let's see, and then if we go to, it was in, I think, the Nalbinding group with the brown bag. And somewhere, if we look up Discord, maybe it will search. Yes. Hi, everyone. Posting with admin approval. I've recently set up a Discord group for crafters. It's basically an online craft group, and I'm hoping it'll act like a virtual craft meetup for those who struggle to access in-person ones. If you're crafting at home and fancy some company, you can pop on to the one of the video channels and see who else is around for a chat. Text chats are also there too, and here's the link. And this is the one where I didn't know that Discord did video, or not video, but microphone ones anyway. Let's see, open, copy link address. There we go. Discord. There. Oh, it's too long. Or it's not letting me post the link. Oh, that's because it's like massively long. Okay. Then look for, if you go to the Nalbinding group and you, it's called Join the Craft Conversation on the Discord server. Joe Southall posted it. So you can search either Joe Southall, or you can look for a post that was done on January 7th, or you can just search the word Discord. That's how I found it up immediately. It was the first one that popped on. And that's in the Nalbinding group on Facebook with the brown bag, so you can see what it is. It won't let me post it because it's too big. Yep. Or it could be a link thing. We were having the same thing with PJ's thing. That it couldn't be posted either for some reason. Raymond said, found I had to put a bit of tape over the sharpening stone. It was wearing the fabric of my jacket. Karl has his flintstone hanging from his belt. Albert's bow is 50 pounds. PJ says, bow is a weapon? As in a weapon, yep. Robert had a pretty good question about that. Horn does bend. Even bone and antler have been used in bow making. Usually they are paired with sinew to increase the draw weight. The Inuit use antler and sinew to make a cable-backed bows. I have to read that for Karl when he's back. If he's I can see he's getting tired. So we might have to call it pretty soon here. Radisby says, I really enjoy Dalby at the moment, but would like to learn all the stitches in time. Oh God, there's so many. Ingela Anderson did this, I don't know if you could say it's Swedish, Ingela Andersson. She she was doing this thing about all the different connection stitches, because if you have, for example, Mammen or in Korgan are pretty much the same stitch, but how you connect them changes the name based on a find. So if you do F1, it's Korgan. If you do F2, it's Mammen, but they're both Finnish 1 plus 2. Yeah, 1 plus 2. So that one would change the name. So she wanted to see, she took just the Oslo stitch and she did all these different connections. And I think she stopped at around 86, maybe even 120. But there are so many, and it changes the look of the needle. Just do Oslo F1 and then do Oslo M1, the middle one, and see the difference that one makes alone. And then you could also do B1 also from the back loop. If you alternate Oslo F1 with Oslo B1, you can also get ribbing, but it would be going the wrong direction. You'd have to do a piece of ribbing first and then pick up on the side if you wanted to do that. Karl, there was a little bit more from Robert. He said, horn does bend. Even bone and antler have been used in bow making. Usually they are paired with sinew to increase the draw weight. The Inuit use antler and sinew to make cable-backed bows. Did you have any thoughts on that one, or?
No, it's entirely possible.
Yeah, he says it's entirely possible.
It's a matter of I'm unfamiliar with the Birka finds.
Yeah.
But if he has a link to the Birka finds, that would be very interesting.
Karl says send him a link to the Birka finds. He would love to read more about that one. Karl has always a thirst for knowledge. Let's see. And he remembers this stuff. I can't even remember. I've already forgotten variant G, says PJ. No! You know what? Oh, actually, I kind of did too. I'm like, wait, what was variant G again? I think that... I want to say that was M1F1, but I can't remember. But that's why we have Sana's page, Neulakentot. You can write that one up. en.neulakentot.fi. She has a whole list of stitches anyway. That one we call the Needle Binding Bible, but I have to refer to it constantly. So if we do a stitch of the month, I will almost always pull one from there, because then everyone, like I said, can also look it up. And her videos are so good, why recreate the wheel? Let's see. Nellis is 150. Did she do 150? Ingela did. That was really cool. Yeah, because you got to see them too. Nella was there, Maria Lindhiel was there, and Anne Marie Decker was there, and we got to see all these. Anne Moreau was there too, actually. And we're looking at all these little, and Susan Youngman. There's so many that were there. This was at the Nalbinding Festival, not last year, but the year before, when it was in May, and it was really cool to see that she did this whole study on it. It has actually submitted a paper, which you can probably look up to. I think she posted it, I don't know, a couple of months ago in the Nalbinding chats, almost all of the Nalbinding groups on Facebook. But it's a really interesting read, and it was really interesting to see all these little swatches and how much just one difference or one connection change would change it. Discord link does not expire. I just couldn't post it for some reason. But you can search it. Okay. Yeah, you should be able to find an article with her name, Ingela Anderson. Ingela Anderson. It's like Anderson. But does she have two S's in Anderson? I'll do it like that. She also works with raffia paper too. Has Nalbound straw hats out of that, and they look so cool. So, Nikki says, "Oh, me too, but it's Mammon with M1F1 join. That was variant G. Okay, so it was M1F1. Then I didn't forget quite as much. I'll remember I like to stitch, but if I don't do it all the time, then I'll have to look it up again and remember, why did I like that stitch, or how did that one go again, and just to be sure, or something. Or I remember, like, Russian 2 plus 2 plus 2, I know what that stitch is. Some of them have a name as well, and I don't remember the name, but I remember Russian 2 plus 2 plus 2. So anyway, that's why that page is really nice to look at. But the ones I will use most often, then I remember, like, Oslo, York, Danish ones, double Danish ones, cross knit looping. I don't use those ones too much though. Then there's Mammen, Korgen, Broden, Longerid, Broden, Dalby, Telemark, of course, Finnish 2 plus 2. Yeah, those ones I remember no problem, because we do them on a regular basis. So, all right, I should probably go and feed Karl. He's got his head in the fireplace now, trying to make it warmer in here, so I suspect he might need an aspirin. So, do you want to say goodbye, Karl? Goodbye. I'll leave it up a little bit so that the chat can. I'll leave the window open a bit so that the chat doesn't close anyway, so you can get a few more in there. But we will see you next week, same time, Saturday at 6:30 on Norwegian time, and we'll play more with the Telemark stitch. And if you have any questions, I think the bow question counts too anyway. If you want to collect your questions, you can put them in comments as well, now that I know how to find my comments better because Jay showed me. We're going to raffle this sucker off. Karl picks the question he likes the most, because he's missing the Viking questions in the off season. So there you go. Challenge his brain. We'll do this until the end of January, and then we'll send it and pick one and send it. So see you. By the way, where can I find the Discord link? Go to the Facebook Nalbinding group, the one with the brown bag on it, and just do a search for Discord. It's I can see that it came up. It was the first hit on my search anyway, when you search the group. It's called Join the Craft and Conversation Discord server. So I guess it's called Craft and Conversation, but you'll see it's Joe Southall in there. Yeah, if I can find a way to, maybe I can put it in the comments. I can try to put it in the comments, but I don't think I can comment on the video until tomorrow. I think it has to go 24 hours. We shall see. Okay. Nice to catch the stream. Yeah, no, this was really fun. Okay, see you next week. I promise I won't be posting more than an hour earlier, even though I want to. Okay, bye-bye.